Hey folks, welcome to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. It's the show about the shows. My name's Chris Meyer, and I'm here today with Elaine Victoria. Elaine, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully.
So you are, some people probably know that you're an entertainer, actually, in Branson, and so you are on the Ball Knobbers show.
Yes.
And how's that going?
It's going great. I love the show this year.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good stuff about it, so that's exciting.
It just has a good flow. People are giving really great feedback, so
that's awesome.
I'm really enjoying it, and of course it's the 60th year, so such a legacy show, and I love being a part of it. So yes, come see the Ball Knobbers in the Branson Famous Theater.
So every once in a while we'll talk about the Ball Knobbers and give you a little plug for people to come see you sing over there as well. Who's our guest today?
Today we have RP Harrell from Clay Cooper Country Music Express.
Yeah, and so RP is awesome. Folks, you've got to watch this episode. Don't like go do something else right now. He is amazing. And so
Awesome, man.
We'll be back in just a moment with that. But first, I've got some dumb questions or things that make you go, Okay. First one. How does a thermos know if it's supposed to keep something hot or cold? Okay. When it rains, why don't sheep shrink?
They probably do.
I don't know. I don't know.
Why don't I shrink?
Do Lipton employees take coffee breaks?
I've tried to be witty in response to this one before, and I'm not trying again. So proceed.
Oh well.
But Lipton's nasty and coffee is delicious. Yeah. Continue.
How does a shelf salesman keep his store from looking empty? Okay. And then if practice makes perfect and nobody's perfect, why practice?
Ooh.
Yeah. Some of these are kind of dumb. I don't know. Do you have a favorite one or one of your dumbest ones?
Well, I just kind of want to think theoretically about the practice makes perfect one for a while, because we practice because it makes us better, and we're supposed to strive to become better in this life, right?
Yeah. I've heard the saying that if you practice something like 10,000 hours, you're then you're like an expert at it.
10,000 hours?
10,000 hours. And then, so you may not be perfect, but you're darn close at that point. So, I mean, how many hours do you think you've practiced singing?
Oh, wow.
I bet you it's a lot.
That depends. Do car jams count? Does blaring out Rascal Flatts and contemporary Christian music as an 8-year-old count?
Yeah.
Maybe 10,000 hours, I don't know.
See, there we go. Okay, folks, here's the deal. Hang tight. RP's going to be back with us in just a moment.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. And today we were with RP Harrell. And RP, it's great to have you back, because we filmed this all one time and the audio was messed up.
It was.
And you were
testing 1, 2. Check.
And you were nice enough to come back again. And so I just want to say thank you. And
oh, you're welcome.
And
how long is this going to take?
Long enough. No. So, you've been in Branson a long time, but you have an amazing history and career in the entertainment business. And so tell people kind of how you got started and where...
Not that amazing, no.
Where you went to. Talk about it.
Well, I was a young poor boy in East Texas. And once I got out of prison, and everything kind of turned for me, and I've never been in jail. So. Anyway, No, I grew up in East Texas and started playing very young and wasn't very good at all. But fortunately, these older guys kind of took a liking to me, and I ended up working a lot as a young boy. And I'd go play with my buddies in the garage rock and roll bands, and not tell them I was going to play country music with these old guys, because the difference was my little rock garage band did New Year's Eve, our first paying job. We worked all night and made $5 a piece. And so this older guy calls and he said, "Hey, we're playing at the old VFW down here in Podunk, Texas next weekend. If you want to go play with us." Now, it could be good, it could be bad. We play for the door. Well, I made $90, and let me tell you, in 1960, whatever, that was about a lot of money. And I went, okay, rock and roll country kid. No big. So anyway, with all that said, I kind of ended up playing with these guys, and one of them had this record deal on Pixie Records, which was an up-and-coming deal out of Memphis. And next thing I knew, he needed to go to Memphis to cut a session, and he talked to the principal. They got me released from school to go. I had no business going. I was terrible, honestly. And so that session happened to be at Sun Records studio there, Sam Phillips studio. Knox was the engineer. During the session, I happened to look up, and Jerry Lee Lewis was standing in the control room, which really helped my nerves a lot anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, with all that said, I had no idea the magnitude of what that would do. That kind of turned me on to recording and the whole audio thing, and I've always had that love for that.
But Sun Records was Elvis and Johnny Cash, and so you were in the studio where all these legends have recorded.
Yep. And of course, they were very proud that I was there too. They got to work with a legend.
Of course.
Not true. Not true. Anyway, that's how my kind of recording career started, and that record did absolutely nothing. I still have the acetate of that recording. Back then, they'd burn what they call an acetate. An acetate. And it's like a big, thick vinyl.
He's cussing over here.
I do not cuss. Anyway, this is a big old, like a pre-record thing. It's a real thick piece of vinyl, and very fragile. It's actually broken in half now of that record. And before it broke, I actually listened to that some years ago. Oh, it was terrible.
Did it break just by you playing it?
Probably, yeah. Or maybe I didn't ever want anyone to hear that.
Right.
Anyway, so that led to moving to Texas, back to not from Texas, but to Houston from Lufkin, where I grew up, and got a job at a recording studio there in Houston, working with all these kind of Texas legends, and I was still the dumb little kid in the group, and they had me delivering records to the German communities. I would deliver German polka records in the daytime and play on these really bad sessions at night. And so, it kind of all started there. And as I got a little older and learned a little more about what I was doing, I started with this road band that was actually, back then when a road band was a road band, I mean, you lived on the road. We were based out of Wichita Falls, Texas, and had this booking agent. His nickname was Dartboard Sam, because he'd take a dart and say, "Okay, y'all are going there." And so you'd be in Montana this week and Florida the next week, and no kind of routing. But anyway, Sam was a great guy, and he booked a whole lot of us. And through all those travels, I ended up one night in Lubbock, Texas, at this little supper club for a week, and this pretty young thing was working in the restaurant that night, and she worked only on weekends because she was a music major at Texas Tech. Well, I married that girl eventually, and ended up about 14 years later, we had our first child, who's now 30 whatever. Katie is, got a great daughter and a horrible son-in-law. But anyway, that's how I met my wife, and we worked and toured together. She was a singer. We took her out of that horrible living element she was in and put her in a van with a bunch of hippies and took her all over the United States. And for about 12 years we did that. Ended up in Houston, where we bought a home, and we still hadn't made a baby yet at that time. And I luckily walked in at the right time and landed with a bunch of guys that were legends in that area. They were the studio band cutting all the hits, and they had a night band working a big club in Houston. this band had about 3 different versions of that band, but just with all that said, one of the guys that was the bass player was a songwriter, and we met and went to the beach one night in Galveston and talked about life and what we were going to do, and he did everything he said he was going to do, and 20 years later he had hit records and written hit songs, and he bought all these farms in Arkansas. We built a great recording studio, and I had the blessing of engineering and playing on 4 or 5 albums for Liberty and Polygram, Capitol, and I think it was 4 albums I actually did there with him. And after only a couple of hits, those go away, and so I started kind of thinking. My daughter was born after, during that time, shortly before that, and she was getting old enough to be trying to figure where her path was going to be. So we moved I said, well, I'm going to go check out that Branson and see if I can get an audio gig up there. Well, I put it resumes, and here's all my big records and all this. Nobody called. And so I had a buddy that I'd met when we were touring with Merle Haggard, and Clint Strong, who was here in town a while, a very incredible jazz guitar player. And he said, I'm putting a band together for Rex Allen Jr. So bam, I started with Rex. That lasted maybe a month or 2. And then Roy Clark was looking. And this was getting close to the end of the year, and so I jumped on the train with Roy and said, oh, great, he's here 2 shows a day. I don't have to get back on the road. And so that's November. December comes, and the season ends in Branson, and I said, well, now what do we do? And he said, we leave for Maine in the morning. Solid road work all winter, so right back on the road.
You weren't exactly planning on that, if
I was
remember.
not planning on that at all. So with all that said, that started my path here in Branson, and this big show from Vegas came to town, Country Tonight. I ended up with a 10-year run there. That's where I met Clay Cooper. He just by accident ended up being the MC and bass player for that show for 10 years, and his wife was a dancer then in the show, and she ended up being choreographer, and we started our path back then. That's like in '93, so that's how long I've known and worked with Clay. So
I want to stop right there.
I'm not done. I'll let you know. Anyway,
we will be back in just a minute to hear more from RP.
This is the greatest show. Boogie back to Texas.
Howdy, y'all. This is Clay Cooper, and I want to welcome you to the live show capital of the world, Branson, Missouri, and my show, Clay Cooper's Country Express.
Do you want to go? Well, it's coming in all the color lights, and the runaways are running the night. Impossible come true. It's taking over you. Oh, this is the greatest show.
Take a look at all the incredible entertainment in my 2-hour show. We have 24 veteran entertainers performing a variety of music from classic country to rock and roll, contemporary country to pop, as well as gospel and patriotic. Lots of variety for all ages.
Hey folks, we are back here at Play Branson with RP Harrell. And RP, you were kind of just talking about, you had Clay Cooper and you had met at Country Tonight.
Right.
So take us on from there.
well, Country Tonight had a good 10-year run, kind of the big years they called them back in Branson, and eventually Clay kind of started coming of his own there and started his own little morning show, and so we kind of all just went with Clay when things started changing in town and with the show, and the show ended up selling a couple of times, and Clay's little morning show grew, and all of a sudden he had a night show, and we were in that mold hole, we call it, the little joint across that used to be across from Walmart, where every time it rained you had 3 feet of water in the basement, but that, you know, it was a great starting point for a lot of people. I think Yakov, a lot of people worked there in the old days. But that's where Clay, we kind of started there, and from there we kind of grew, ended up buying the Osmond Theater and put millions into that place and millions of hours of work and sweat, and Clay's really paid his dues, and I think his time's come. He's done a good job.
And so tell people what you do for the show now there.
Oh, not much. I just get a check and go to the house. That's about it. I'm not much into titles, so they call me the production manager for all the shows. I'm kind of in charge of seeing that everything, you know, logistically and mechanically and whatever, lighting, sound, and I have a very good self-efficient tech crew they're my babies, and they do it themselves. I just kind of keep the lights on for them.
But you also
Nothing
play in the
can
show.
happen at this theater without you.
Oh, baloney.
Maybe when he is humbly,
Whatever.
we're having to pull out of him.
Yeah, but you also perform in the show,
I do.
right? You play the piano back there.
Oh, yeah.
We forgot about that.
Supposed to be the musical director, but
There you go.
there again, I got this great set of old veteran players. They do it themselves. I just throw them a blueprint, and they say that's wrong, and they fix it, and then we play the music. So, yeah, I'm still beating on the piano and the old Hammond B3 organ, and hope to do it as long as I can do it up there.
So tell people about the show this year. Maybe someone's never been to Clay Cooper's show. Tell people a little bit about the show.
Well, it's not very good, but it's getting better. No, I hope they never watch this show. I seriously do. I think it's one of the better ones he's had. It comes out of the chute very strong, kicking, and doesn't slow down. We can't hardly get Clay to talk. That's the problem. We try to get him to intertwine with the people. And, let me tell you something about that guy. He has this uncanny ability. He can remember names of people he met 20 years ago at the show, out of thousands and thousands of people.
That's amazing.
Oh, I know you. You're so-and-so from so-and-so. It's uncanny.
Whoa.
And you know what that means in this business, because people go, that guy remembers me. And he does. He can tell them how many kids they got. It's crazy. So the things he knows about me is pretty scary, because he'll never forget them, with the memory he has. So, but anyway, this year's show, it's a big, it's a big cast, a lot of dancers, a big production show, and it's as down home as it gets, and then it's as polished as it gets as well. I'm pretty proud of it.
So, you told us a story last time.
Imagine that.
And I want you to tell people again, but there was a time where you were in Vegas.
A few of those, yeah.
Yeah, and so there was a time where you kind of snuck in. Tell us about that story.
Oh, Elvis.
Yes.
Elvis called me and said, look, you guys don't believe anything, do you? You're funny. Elvis did not call me, folks. I was a young kid with a fake ID going into every casino and every place I shouldn't be, and I had to play there. Actually, the rules and restrictions were outrageous then. And I actually got into every casino and every show in Las Vegas, everything except the place I worked. This one security guard hated me. He stood there and watched for me every day. He escorted me to the stage. The minute the show was over, he escorted me out. So I'd go comb my hair up in a Porter Wagner pompadour and everything, and I'd take my glasses off and put on everything I could do to look older, and it worked everywhere but the Golden Nugget. With all that said, Elvis Mania was in town, and he was at the International Hilton and had a day off, so I jump in a cab and I go down to the Strip. And I said, I'm just going to go see what all this Elvis Mania stuff's going on, and all the slot machines are Elvis. And so I walk over to the showroom, and the stanchions or ropes or whatever you call them, they're up, and it's roped off, and I hear music. And as I am a young teenage fearless kid, I look around, nobody's looking, and I just walk up. The door's not locked. I walk in, the theater lights are off, but the stage work lights are on, and there's Elvis and James Burton and Ronnie Tutt and all these guys, these heroes, just tearing it up. So I walk over into the shadows against the wall for about 20-25 minutes till I started getting scared, and watched Elvis rehearse for 20 minutes, and he didn't ask me to get up or anything and sit in with him, but I did finally got scared and left, and I go back to the hotel going, nobody's going to believe this, and to this day, nobody believes I did that, but I did.
But I do.
believe
I do, because
you.
it's too good of a story.
You
Otherwise.
had no choice.
Now you have.
It's totally not true, though. I made all that up.
I still think it's a great story, whether you made it up or not. And Elvis, and every time someone talks about Elvis, I will mention this, is that Elvis actually was in Harrison, Arkansas when I was a little kid, and my parents had a motel down there, and he stayed there for a couple days, and I have a picture where I'm in the background. I'm in the background, and Elvis is getting in his car. I didn't get to talk to him or anything.
Right.
But so Elvis was in this part of the country.
Yeah, see, that's awesome, man. See, you got an Elvis story.
So that's a true story. And I didn't make that up. But here's the thing is you also have a pretty good comedian over at Clay Cooper, and you're related to him, right?
Is that on the paper?
No, it's not on the paper. I just wanted you to talk a little bit more about your son-in-law.
Oh boy, everybody's got a cross to bear, So You know, yes, Matt Gum is my son-in-law, and I just hope, I'm going to say something nice and just hope and pray he never watches this, because I still cut him zero slack, zero. But he's probably one of the most crazy talented people I've ever met. He's totally fearless. You can throw anything at him at any time, right off the cuff. He'll jump out there and he'll jump off a building. He's crazy. He'll do anything and make it work. He's an incredible musician, one of the best drummers around. He's a great singer, plays multiple instruments, and I don't know, it came from his family. He grew up playing with his mom and dad up there, you know, at the Lake of the Ozarks, and I'm sure it's started that way. But more so than all that, I got to tell you, he's a jam-up husband to my daughter, great dad, and that's probably the only time in history you're going to hear me give him a compliment.
There we go. And that's why we have it now official on record.
Recording.
You said something nice about him. So you've been named Piano Player of the Year for at least 3 times, and you've been inducted into the Branson Entertainer Hall of Fame. And so this guy's very humble, but you're a very important musician and entertainer in this community. And in fact, last year we did a showcase at the Clay Cooper Theater, and I worked with this guy, and he did an awesome job of putting on this showcase for tour operators.
Well, let
and
me
people
tell you,
in town.
pal, so did you. You jumped in there like a stage manager, and you were on the horn doing the deal, and I didn't do much. You did most of that.
Well, you did a great job, and so schedule-wise, when is the show? When can people come see it?
Well, right now we're doing Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, and Sunday nights. 7:30 at the Clay Cooper Theater, of course, on this fabulous strip. And the schedule changes some throughout the year. In the fall, we add more morning shows for the bus groups and all that. But another show, I think, or maybe a morning show in the summer. I'm not sure how that works. I just go day to day.
You just go day to day.
But yeah, the show's up and running and doing well.
Okay, we're over time, but I want to talk about your hat. I want to talk about your hat because we want to give you extra time.
Which hat is that today?
It's the LL hat, and it has like Gatorade on it or something like that.
It's probably got more. How's my hair?
That's right.
It's probably got more than Gatorade. Oh, Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett.
Yeah, Lyle and I go way back. We're old buddies, and I've never met the man in my life. Our drummer, Jimmy Hyde, gave me that hat, and that's the only story about the hat.
Now we know.
But I'm not done.
Okay. What else do you want to talk about?
A lot. How are we doing on time? We're out of time? It says 0 over there.
It does. But we will go longer for you if we need to.
No, we won't. I'm done.
Okay. Folks, here's the deal. If you have not been to the Clay Cooper Theater and seen Clay Cooper's show, do it. And you're going to see this guy, RP Harrell. You're going to see him up on stage playing the piano, and he's the guy that helps put it all together. And you're going to be blown away by this show. I think you'll...
You say that about everybody.
How many times have you watched this show?
Quite a bit, actually.
Okay, so,
I see all my buddies on here.
So we like Branson shows. I don't want to tell people to not go to a show because the show industry is important to Branson. But
it's also an awesome show.
It is an awesome
Clay
show.
Cooper show.
And
now, have you been there this year?
Not this year,
That's
but
what
I've
I
seen
thought.
it in the past.
So folks,
And Tina
we'll
Cooper,
be back in just a moment.
She's awesome. Hey, we're still talking here.
Folks, welcome back to Play Branson. We're here to wrap up the show today, and RP was on, and awesome.
What a great guy.
And he's
some great stories.
Oh yeah, he's so humble, but he's like he's done a tremendous amount, and we didn't even cover everything he's done.
Yes, I wish I could just. He does need to write an autobiography.
Yes.
Because he has some really cool stories to share. We only touched the tip of the iceberg.
RP, so thanks for coming. We appreciate you being here a second time because the first time it just didn't record right. So he came back. Here's the thing, coming up soon, we have Howie Mandel coming up May 3rd here at the Welk Resort here in Branson. He hasn't been here, I don't think, ever before in Branson. So it'll be good to have him here. And if you want to check him out, go over to Welk and Resort and And then who else do we have coming up?
We have the Oak Ridge Boys coming this weekend at the Mansion.
Yeah.
So I grew up listening to Oak Ridge Boys.
I saw the Oak Ridge Boys actually when I was a little kid in Harrison, Arkansas, and it was at a theater down there that eventually became a skating rink, which is now a car dealer. So that was a long time ago, and of course they've been fixtures here in Branson for really decades, and so it's always good to have them back. Our next episode, tell people who is going to be on our next episode.
Yes, we have Taylor Granberry. She is the Master of Ceremonies over at Dolly Parton Stampede.
Yes.
So wonderful girl, class act. I am really looking forward to having her. So.
And she is the first performer we've ever had on the show from Dolly Stampede. So we're really excited about that as well. So folks, if you are planning your entire Branson vacation, or even only a portion of it, you can go to ibranson.com where you can book attractions, shows, hotels. They even have dining certificates you can buy online, a lot of times even 50% off on the dining, and they give discounts and all that. So check those folks out at ibranson.com, or you can call them at 1-877-ENTERTAIN. We appreciate you being here, and continue to watch us. Check us out on facebook.com/Play Branson. You can also find us at playbranson.com. We're also on Instagram. We're everywhere. And let us know what you think and who you'd like to see on upcoming episodes. This has been another edition of Play Branson. We'll see you next week.